Hello folks, Papa Top 912 coming at you again with another one of our famous recipes, and the recipe for today is coconut crab stew. Now this recipe is a derivative of a rundown. As you can see by what's up there, pretty much all these ingredients go in a rundown, but the fundamental difference between this and a rundown is that the rundown you want to reduce your sauce down to make it thick and creamy, where with the stew I am actually going to be liquefying the sauce so that I can have enough broth so that I can cook all of those crabs and keep them all submerged in the liquid so they can absorb all of those flavors. So let me just go down the ingredients list and tell you what we're working with today. And the star of the show is going to be the crab. And in that dish, we have some king crab, snow crab, stone claw crab, blue crab, and Dungeness crab. Beyond that, we're going to be using some butter, and that's just your Irish butter. Then we have our plate of fresh vegetables, and I have red onions, some Italian parsley, some red bell pepper, some garlic, poblano pepper, some thyme, and some green onions. Now you can see all of those are pretty much rustic chopped. I didn't chop them too fine because they're just going to reduce down and stew, and they're going to actually just dissolve a little bit inside of the broth as it's cooking, so I didn't have to cut those up too fine. Now beyond that, my seasonings, I have some allspice, a little bit of Old Bay seasoning, some red pepper flakes, some salt, black pepper, a little bit of sugar, and then some coconut milk. So what I'll do is I'm going to take the butter and I'm going to saute off all of those vegetables. And then once those are sauteed off, I'm going to add the crab into the dish. And then I'll kind of just roll those around to get all those vegetables and the butter coated the crab. Then I'm going to add in the coconut milk and add in some water to cover it. Then I'm just going to let it cook. And once it cooks for a little while, gets up to temperature, I'll come back and I'll season the pot with the dry ingredients, and then I'll just let it cook some more so that those seasonings can infuse inside of the crab. So now we're going to move on over to the stove and start the cooking process over there. All right, folks, welcome back. We have made it over here to the stove. You can see I got this butter. That's probably about 3 tablespoons of butter in there, and I had just a little bit of wok oil too. I didn't have that as one of the ingredients, but I always like to put a little wok oil in my wok when I'm cooking with it. It has a sharp flavor, like a garlicky flavor. So the first thing we're gonna do, I got my heat on medium. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw in my red onions. Try to get all those red onions in there. Throw in the thyme, the bulk of those green peppers. Green onions. Put in all of the poblano pepper. A little bit of the parsley. I'm putting all the red pepper. So I'm holding back a handful of the green onions and a handful of the parsley. And then I'm just saving the garlic to put it in about 3 to 4 minutes once that other stuff starts to render down. So you can see here, that's what I'm holding back. Just some of the onions and the parsley. And I'm going to slide that garlic in the pan, but I just didn't want the garlic to burn, so I'm not going to put it in there just yet. So now that I got these veggies in here, I'm going to go ahead and turn my fire up a little bit. I just didn't want to burn my butter. And we're just going to let this simmer and reduce down and go ahead and let these vegetables start getting a little translucent. Let them release their flavors into that butter. Then we're gonna come right back in with the coconut milk and the crab. All right, guys. So these vegetables are limp now. So I went ahead and put the garlic in there. That was probably about 2 to 3 minutes. Now I'm gonna let this here go for another 2 minutes or so. And then we'll get these crab in the pot and move on to the next step. So I'll be back once this garlic infuses in this oil and starts to release its flavor too. All right, guys. So as you can see now, that garlic is starting to get a little translucent in the pan. So we're gonna go ahead and start putting these crab in there. I got my assistant. She's just gonna be flipping stuff around. Now, one thing you wanna do, if you look at this crab here, you can see it's sliced. If they don't come pre-sliced, you're gonna wanna slice them. So I'll show you a couple that I did where I sliced them. Like on there. I don't know if you can see that or not because of the light. Let me turn this light off. Yeah, you can see right there. I scored all of them so that those juices can get up in there and season up that meat inside the shell. Alright. So I'm just going to keep laying these crabs in here while my assistant swishes them all around. Getting a little bit of vegetable on them.
I can't really move anything.
This right here is a Jonah crab, as we call it growing up, a rock claw. Very succulent meat in those things. All right, y'all. So you can see now, we got all those crab in here. You can hear it bubbling down in the bottom. That's the water out of the crab going down to the bottom, mixing in that oil. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna pour in the coconut milk. Alright. I put a little water in there and shake it around. Swish it around. Alright. Pour it in. Alright, so you can see where the level is right there. So we're going to need a good bit more water. So go ahead and pour that cup of water in here. Pour it in slow until we get to the top of the crabs. You probably not have to pour all of that. But go ahead and keep it going slow. Keep it coming. All right. Would you think that's enough? I think that might be enough to start with, because these crabs are going to give off some more juice too. Alright, so now, hit that fire. Turn it up high. We need to bring this thing up to a boil. As soon as it gets up to a boil, we'll let it go for about 2 or 3 minutes. Just to infuse the flavors, and then we'll start adding the seasoning. After we season it up, all we're going to do is let it simmer and let these crabs just suck up all that flavor. All right, you guys, welcome back. So you can see here now, this baby is nice and boiling. So I can turn the fire down. Take my lid off for a minute. Then we can start rumbling around and tasting. So I'm gonna just taste it real quick. I already know it's just gonna taste like crab and coconut. So I taste crab and coconut. What you taste, Mini-Me? Ready?
Crab and coconut.
Crab and coconut. So, first thing we're gonna put in is I'm gonna have my assistant shake some black pepper in there.
Allspice?
Shake the black pepper first, assistant. Use the not that side. Use the other side.
Are you sure you make sure which side's which?
Okay.
Hello.
Just shake it in the middle so we can see how much it is. Keep going. All right, let's stop right there. And I'm gonna shake some of this allspice in there. All right, let me get some red pepper in there, shorty. You shake the red pepper. Go ahead. You know not to go heavy with that, ain't it? Shake it in the middle. Keep going. Oh, no, we need more than that. Come on, tip it over. Tip it up. There you go. Shake. Now, there you go.
That's probably too spicy.
I got some Old Bay. Put a little Old Bay in it. And we're going to pause on the salt till we taste the Old Bay. Hold that handle still for me over there. All right. So put all those seasonings right there in the middle. Now we're just going to stir this broth around. All right, now let's taste this bad boy.
Knock it out, go. Do we need
Oh,
salt?
it's definitely got pepper. But we're going to need some salt.
It still tastes like crab and coconut.
You taste the pepper?
No.
I'll taste the pepper. Alright. I'm going a little easy on the salt, but we do need a little more Old Bay too.
I think you used the wrong side.
I know how to use that side. You don't know how to use that side.
What do you mean?
You better pour the whole bottle of salt in there. Hold that handle for me.
No, I would not have.
Sure.
Me. Is this almost ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright. So we got it stirred up again there, y'all. Let's taste it now.
Not gonna go. But I need you to taste it.
Here, little girl, tell me what you think. I think it's about right. Think that's right? Tell them, don't tell me. All right, so should we put a little more allspice, or is it good on the allspice? I think it tastes good, but I don't know if we should put a little more allspice in it. Let's add just a dab of allspice.
That's a dab.
Yeah, that's 2 dabs. And then we're going to put about a teaspoon of sugar. And I think that's going to make it 100% right there, y'all. I think that's going to make it 100. Ha-ha. All right, taste this one. Now it's right, people. Now it's right. So now all we got to do now is
Let it
just turn the heat up again till we get a low boil, and then just let it sit there and just let this cook for about 20 minutes. I'm gonna cook it with the lid on to make sure that those flavors stay in and infuse. And then I'm gonna take the lid off and I'm gonna try to reduce the liquid down a little bit to thicken up the broth. So turn it back up. See right there, you see the little bubbles coming up in there? We're just gonna let this ride now.
Let it soak.
Put the lid on it, let it go. Maybe halfway through I'll come and flip it since all these crabs aren't completely submerged. But they're under there enough, plus with the lid, they're gonna get infused. So we're gonna put the lid on and just let this go. And then we will be back. All right, guys, so welcome back here. So these crabs have been cooking for about 25 minutes. And you can see they've all kind of taken on, the shells have kind of got the same color as this broth that I have in here now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take just a little bit cornstarch just to thicken it up. You see it's done got thicker. It was just water. It's a little thicker. Turn my heat back up. Yeah. It's still not quite as thick as I want it. But one thing I have to watch out, cornstarch, the hotter it gets, the more it'll keep activating itself. So you don't want to put too much in too soon. I don't know if y'all can see that well, but it is thicker now. But I want to go just slightly, just a little bit more. So I'll put just a dab in there. Just a dab. All right, that's probably gonna do me. All right, guys. So it's been about 5 minutes. After I put that cornstarch in there just to let that gravy thicken up. I just want to show you what it looks like now. You can see how it kind of sticks to the spoon, where before it was just completely liquacious. It was just all watery. So now it's not like thick like a southern gravy or anything, but it just has a little body to it, so it'll stick to your rice or whatever you're going to put this on. Bread, whatever you want to do. So now what I'm going to do is take that last bit of parsley that I had and those onions and just put them in here. Just add a little bit of freshness to the dish. And that's all that's doing. It's just going to add a little bit of freshness to the dish. I'm going to go ahead and kill my fire now. And I wish you could be here to smell this, because it smells so delicious, you guys. So guys, this has been our rendition of a coconut crab stew. Like I said, it's something that we like to eat and we wanted to share it with you guys. So if you do try it, leave a comment. Let us know what you thought about it. It's Papa Top 912 signing off.